Does giving create happiness? Does giving create more happiness than receiving? It's a bit of a strange one. Giving a present, actually you get more happiness, or giving money than actually receiving money? It reminded me of a story. There was this lady who was very wealthy. She had everything she wanted in life, but she was feeling really depressed. So she went to a psychologist and she sat down and she kind of explained to the psychologist just how down she was feeling. The psychologist was a smart man, and he happened to have a cleaner working for him. So he called the cleaner in, and the cleaner's name was Mary. He's like, Mary, can you tell your story to this lady? So Mary started explaining to this lady her story, and she basically had lost her son and her husband. And through that process, she went into such a severe state of depression. She was contemplating suicide. She was feeling so low. And she was quite poor as well. She wasn't wealthy at all. One day on her way home, there was a little cat, and the cat decided to follow her all the way home. And when she got home, the cat was there, and she decided for whatever reason to give her some milk. And the cat drank the milk. And she actually got a lot of joy out of that process. And she thought to herself, well, if I get this much joy out of giving milk just to this cat, what about maybe doing a little bit more? What about maybe going to my neighbour's place and baking some cookies because they're a bit ill? So she did that the following day. She made some cookies and she gave it to that neighbour. And like this, she thought, well, if I get this much joy out of helping my neighbour out, what about helping other people out? And slowly, gradually, she lifted herself out of her depression, and she lifted herself out of her downward spiral by giving. Now, as she explained this story to this wealthy lady, the wealthy lady was crying because she realised she had never given in her life. And this is something that's incredibly important. The act of giving is so much more healing. In fact, it releases the same amount of dopamine as does when you're getting a high, a natural high, maybe for exercising or things like this. In fact, they've done studies around this where scientists have found that the same area of the brain is triggered when you're giving as when you're doing exercising, for example. They did an experiment, in fact, where they took a crowd of people, and they gave money to all the people, but half the people they told, spend that money on yourself. And the other half, they told, spend that money on someone else. Give that money to someone else. Give it as a gift or do something. And what they found was those people that spent money on themselves, they were normal. You know, their emotional levels, their dopamine levels were normal. But those that used that money to give, actually felt so much better. Their dopamine levels were that much higher. So there is great value in giving. I know it sounds a bit strange, but the more you give, the more you actually gain happiness. There's an experiment which I'd love for you to try if you're up for it. It's called Pay It Forward. Next time you get the opportunity, do an act of kindness, whatever it might be. Maybe pay for the bus fare for someone, or pay for a coffee, or even if it's not about paying, maybe help someone out. But don't ask for a thank you back. Just say to the person, would you mind paying this forward? Would you mind doing this for someone else? And that's a great way to actually spread that act of giving and spread that gift of kind of compassion and of love.